still don't even know where I'm going to put it.
Here's the rod holder. The cannon mount.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Get it from the side. You can turn that mount right around, grab it from the side of the flat spot. Little button on the front.
Right there. What's up, everybody? Let me work on our camera angle here for a second while everybody's coming in.
See that button on the front? Pull a little knob out and you can turn it.
Yeah, but it's the same all the way around.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Look at that one.
That's the story of our day. What's up, everybody? Chief Stone, Keith Horns, what's up, buddy? Danny Diamond, Scott Lees. I'm out here this morning with my buddy Scott Tagata sitting up front right there. I'm going to turn this thing a little sideways. We've had a great morning, just nothing. We caught a bunch of walleyes. They've all been short. I've had them down to about this big. I caught a perch that wasn't quite as long as my blade. I'm not sure if I should be proud of that or not, but a beautiful morning this morning out here on Oneida Lake. Lots of people out fishing. Scott and I have fished probably 4 or 5 different spots. We've caught fish at all those spots, just no keepers. We got 3 good perch that we have kept, and we've probably caught 7 or 8, maybe walleyes, a few more. I think our biggest one's been about 12 or 13 inches. We came out this morning early. We left. Scott picked me up at my dock at 5:30, and by the time we got out here, it was chilly this morning. It's not super warm even yet, but it's supposed to get nice today. Came out into a northeast wind, not hard, but came out into a northeast wind, which is now pretty east, maybe just slightly southeast. Yeah, just slightly southeast. Perfect drift though, absolute perfect drift. I mean, we're drifting at 0.5, no bags out. I'm out checking out Scott's new live scope, which is pretty cool. He just mounted that all up. It's pretty slick the way it works. If I could move a touch closer, we'll see. Michelle Love, good morning. George Parson, what's up? Larry Kelly. Scott Lee's caught a bunch of babies yesterday. Yeah, it seems to be short season right now. Scott and I were talking a few minutes ago. I think depending on who you ask, I think a lot of people would cry the blues for this year's season so far. I don't know that it's been hot and heavy for anybody on this lake yet this spring. Water temp this morning is 58.5 out here in the main lake. Let's see, 3 or 4 days ago when John Burrows told me that it was 62, makes sense. We've had a couple real cold nights this week. Beautiful during the day, but that we haven't had a cloud in the sky in days, and at night, boy, that sucks the temperature right out of here. It was in the high 30s again this morning when we left and came out. Now it's supposed to be 80 today. That's a pretty big swing overnight.
Nice fish about 25 out.
we've done all of our damage today on blade baits. I did catch a perch on a moonshine shiver minnow, but I didn't fish it very long, and then I wadded it up. So, down here so I can see. Yeah, Farmer Tim, how you doing? Where are you this morning? Actually, Tim, we're right off of your house out in the mid-channel, but I'm looking right in at your place. Keith caught a couple little bass on the Delaware yesterday. Oh, right on. Scott Duranda, good morning. Mark Pastel, the bag, what does that say? Have been pretty good on Wednesday on the tournament. Pike Master, good morning. Good morning again. Wait, who's Pike Master? Good morning again. That means we've already talked, right?
Yesterday.
In the 13-pound range. How many do you guys is Walleye Wednesday 5 fish?
Yeah.
5 fish? Well, to give people an idea, so 13 pounds over 5 fish, that's a 2.5 pound average, give or take, to get 13 pounds out of 5. And our walleyes don't carry their weight like some other fish, that's for sure. And all through the Derby, through Walleye Fest, we only had 3 fish weighed in over 4 pounds. So that I guess a 3-pound average on a 5 fish limit of walleyes. If you were in the 15-pound range, I bet you'd do pretty well every Wednesday night. Oh, Scott caught a big sheepy this morning. That was interesting for a few minutes. But it has not been hot and heavy, I can tell you. And with the amount of people we see moving around constantly, my assumption is that everybody's in the same boat we are.
I didn't see enough fly out this morning.
No.
We had those 2 guys out here that looked like they were bottom bouncing. They were slow a couple times quick, but then they quieted right down.
Yeah, we saw them net 3 or 4 fish in a matter of a quarter of a mile drift when we could still see them after they went by us. And I'm assuming that they were pulling worm harnesses. Fishing's fishing, baby. Fishing's fishing. This is nice though. I get to sit down in this boat. Scott keeps telling me I'm no fun today, but I'm all beat up. I'll tell you, I'm sore. I went back to work this week, and everything in my every muscle in the right side of my body's like, nah, we're done. We're not. We're gonna cramp up. We're gonna tighten up. I made Scott wait for me this morning to go fishing because I was trying to get things stretched out. Such a joy getting old. I was talking all week about Memorial Day weekend and what everybody's doing. Let's see. Paul Horacek, good morning all. Had 4 keepers yesterday, a few perch and 3 pickerel. Nice. That's a banner day.
That was up bluegill.
Yeah, Scott had a mess of bluegills yesterday.
One just surfaced right there.
Yeah. So I've been talking all week about what everybody's doing this weekend. I thought, geez, what's something that I haven't done in ages that I wouldn't mind going to do? And then Courtney and I were talking about maybe going to the Chiefs game tonight. They're not called the Chiefs anymore, though, are they?
Mets.
The Mets.
Syracuse Mets.
Syracuse Mets. That's weird to say.
They have fireworks?
I don't know. They're home all weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I think we're going to go to the game tonight. I think the game's at 6:30. And the reason I'm saying this is if anybody's interested in going, maybe we can, we could all go and I can't imagine it's going to be full. I don't know. I don't know how many people go to those games anymore. And I haven't been to a Chiefs. I'm going to still call them the Chiefs. Okay, let's just say that right now. I'm still going to call them the Chiefs. I haven't been to a Chiefs game in years.
They used to do a certain amount. The first 1,000 people or something would get a hat. I don't know if that's right or not. But they've always got some kind of special thing going on.
Yeah, but we could do a little get together if anybody wants to do it later. You could tailgate out in the parking lot beforehand, and then all go in and sit in the same area. Pick one of the baselines to sit behind, and we could have our own little group if anybody's interested. Put in the comments or whatever. But I'm pretty sure we're going to the baseball game tonight. That's about as American as you can get, right?
That's a great idea.
On Memorial Day weekend, right? It's supposed to be a beautiful evening, beautiful day. Game starts at 6:30.
This live scope is frustrating. You can see them, but you can't catch them.
Yeah, we had a pretty good picture on that live scope this morning, and didn't help us any. A lot of high bait around. Now we're in the West End. We never made it we never made it east of Wantry today, but we are out here fishing around Wantry, and we had a pretty good screen on that live scope this morning, but it didn't translate to bites. And there's a lot of bait out here in this flat. And we're in 20 right now.
I'm looking at the screen now, but the closer to Wantry you were, there's a bunch of bait right here.
Yeah.
About head midway, about 10 foot, big pot of bait.
So somewhere between 7 to 12 feet, we've been seeing all that stratified bait up there. And a couple times we watched, Scott said, oh, watch, and one swam up off the bottom, went up in, I'm assuming got something, and went back to the bottom. I thought that was pretty cool. Don Terry, what's going on, buddy? Just Paul, how you doing? Oh, you're okay, heading to Branningham. My wife is correcting me. I'm wrong. She said I knew it was the Mets because we went there 3 years ago. You're correct, my love.
I can't remember yesterday. What are you talking about?
I know. Well, that's why my wife comes in handy most days, because she reminds me of things that I forgot.
She's your memory.
Yeah, she's my memory, exactly.
Don't do anything wrong, because she'll never let you forget about it.
The good news is I never do anything wrong. My first name, I was named after a saint. Did you know that? Ever tell you that story? St. Matthew. That's what my mom named me after.
Really?
Yeah, he's one of the big seven. So he's a pretty important fella. She is gonna beat the crap out of me later when I get home and she says that. Yeah, I can't believe you said that, because it's funny. That's why.
All right.
It's funny. Yeah. A lot of times she calls me St. Matthew, because I'm such a good guy. I can't blame her for it. And I often tease her that there's no St. Courtney.
That is true.
Although now that I think about it, I don't think there's a St. Scott either. So
St. Anthony. Anthony's my first name.
Oh, legally Anthony's your first name. Okay.
Couldn't take the old Italian ladies pinching my cheeks when I was a kid, so I went for my middle name. They stopped pinching me.
Funny. Funny. Jim Hagler, how we doing? Don Terry, family barbecue and fire at the lake today. All right, I'm already hungry, Don, so just tell me what time and I'll be there.
Right after the game.
Yeah, right. Can you do it before the baseball game? I am open to be. See now, Scott. My wife just said, "Don't listen to the lies, Scott." But I don't tell a lie. I don't think I've ever. And I'm a fisherman, and I don't lie. Joseph Herman. I noticed the boat did not come back home yesterday. No, it did not. And we can talk about the boat for a minute. Let's talk about the boat. So I was up with my buddy Danny Latique, who is a certified mechanic. That's the same person I caught my tarpon with down in Florida. He called me the other day and said, "Hey, bring the boat up. Let's see if we can get it figured out." I said, "Okay." So we went up there and we hooked up the whatever it is that the tool that tells you about spark. We got good spark, good heavy spark at all 6 coil packs. So it's not that. We pulled all the plugs and did a compression check on all cylinders, and all cylinders are perfect and within a pound or two of each other. So it's not that. So at least that's a good thing. That's good news. That's good news. And it still wouldn't fire. It did turn over and it did catch. It did fire. It just wouldn't stay running. So we pulled all the plugs again and we checked everything as far as gap goes, and all the plugs were gapped correctly, because some of them at $12 a plug, oddly enough, they were not gapped when we got them. Whatever. So we gapped them. Put that in, and that was about as far as he goes. Before we start tearing anything apart, he goes, "Let me talk to a friend of mine who works on these E-Techs all the time." And he walked him through everything that had happened, and he said, "It sounds like the high pressure fuel pump, which is in a reservoir of some sort, and it pumps from internally, which is why it would, before it died opening day, you could get it to idle, but you couldn't get it to run anything over idle speed, because so my hope and my guess is that high pressure fuel pump is what's bad, but we got to get into it anyway before we can check fuel pressure. So we'll see. That's where we're at right at the moment. He's supposed to be going to tear it apart tomorrow. So with any luck, we'll have it back next week. Oh, what do you got? What do you got?
I believe it's a perch. That's been the story of the day. A lot of that going on.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what else is going on is we've pronged 3 or 4 of these fish right here in the chest, underneath their head, which is usually a pretty sure indication that they're looking, but they're not all that interested. So,
Just like scaring the bait.
right. But this is the first day of an east wind in a while too, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's been west, steady west.
it's been west or little or nothing for days. So this first day of the east wind, they don't seem to be really too tuned in, or we just haven't found the right fish. I mean, the picture we landed on first thing this morning, we should have been done in half an hour. Really.
Right, fish that was there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because there was a pile of them, and they were right there.
All groups 5s and 6s, 5s and 6s.
Yeah, and I mean, you could see them so clearly on the live scope. You could see their tail going like this. You saw the direction they were swimming, and you could see their tail doing one of these. It's crazy. Cool, very cool.
I haven't messed with them much, but they have a tail setting on here. You can actually see what direction they're going, because they leave like a comet stream behind them.
Oh,
I haven't messed with it though.
Well, you can tell pretty easily though which way they're going.
Yep, I can tell from front to back. Yeah.
You definitely can tell. Eric Wisniewski, what's up? We were just talking about you, Wiz. J. Dam, as a mechanic, the most interesting fact is that you ran the tank dry before the problems began. Ran what tank dry? I've never run my boat out of gas. Look at this giant. But Scott and I are going for the smallest walleye contest today, and I still have him beat.
And you got me beat on the perch too.
Yep.
The perch was funny.
Oh. Oh, I didn't fix it. Here, swing it back over.
He's my guide today.
Yep. I gave him back his lure and it was all wadded up. So Jay, you got to tell me what you mean by that. Run what tank out of fuel? Because I know, like I say, I've never run the boat out of fuel.
Look at that group. 5 fish right there.
High too, huh?
Yep, they're about 5-6 feet off the bottom. Look, what there's bait, 5 feet above that.
Yep. Oh, you're saying I came back on fumes? Yeah, but I mean, I didn't run it out of gas on fumes, meaning I was under a quarter of a tank. No, I would never run anything out of fuel, and that would be a very quick way to burn out a fuel pump.
It's not like you don't have filters on it. You got the water separator filter, which filters the gas.
Yep.
Canister filter. Plus you got the filters in the motor.
Yep.
So and you just change them off. So it's not like if you did run it down low and you sucked up some stuff out the bottom of your tank, you still changed it would have got caught in the filters.
Yeah, when he opens up that bowl to find the fuel filter or the fuel pump,
Yep.
we're gonna know right then and there what's in there.
I watched the video. The guy had one, and his whole fuel pump was full of pieces of rubber from a hose that was breaking down.
Oh yeah. With any luck, that bowl is full of shit, and it cleans it out. The fuel pump is good, and off we go. Because this spring, when it has run, which has been most of the spring, it has run strong as I've ever had it run. I mean, it is a great running motor when things are dialed in, no question.
Like anything else, everything has problems. It's mechanical.
Yeah, if it's got a motor, it's going to screw with you at some point. David Gould, good morning all. Thanks for the video. You're welcome, buddy. The pickup tube in the tank usually has a screen. Yeah. Let's see. Out of the east catch the least, my friend George Parsons says. And yes, it's funny, Scott and I were talking about that this morning. And last year we had so much east wind. Last year, if you would have counted the days and laid them out, your prevailing wind last year was an east wind. No question in my mind. It was the most east wind I've ever seen day after day, and most days it was stiff east, big time. This year it's been no wind. The prevailing wind has been no wind all season.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, yesterday there was nothing yesterday. So late in the day we got a little bit of north wind yesterday.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Yep. We did.
This morning was glass.
Yeah. Yep.
Came out here on glass.
Yep. It was.
Which is a far cry from the first time we went fishing together.
We were talking about that too. The first time Scott and I fished together last year, and we ended up smacking them that day, but it was by accident, so to speak, because we were coming out. We were in my boat, and we were coming into a 15 to 20 mile an hour east wind, and we only made it not much farther past the beach before I was just like, man, we're getting beat up. Let's just stop, and we'll drift back towards 81, and if we catch anything great, well, shit, you didn't make 5 casts that first day, that first morning, and boom, had another one, and I'm like, really? And that west wind must have pushed everything, or that east wind pushed everything into the west end, and it was just filthy with fish in there, and we ended up going back and forth and making short drifts, going back upwind, and just pounded the crap out of them.
I jinxed us today because my first cast was a fish. I'm like, yep, you're my good luck charm. Then nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Now the fish are here. They're just tight-lipped today.
Tight-lipped is for sure. For sure. Ned Sellers, what's up, buddy? Larry Kelly. Dad gave me a 1943 Johnson 5-horse. Said when it died, he'd buy me a new 15-horse. He passed before the motor did. Something to be said for the old pre-mix 2-stroke. Well, yes, but that motor also, Larry, had a spark plug, had fuel, and had air, and that was it. There was nothing else on it. There was not a stitch of electronics on it. You had a manual choke.
Magnets created the spark.
The magnets created the spark in the magneto. Is that what that thing was called? I'm not a mechanic, but those things will run forever. You could have a 1925 Johnson 5-horse still as your kicker motor if you wanted to, because there's nothing that can, I don't want to say there's nothing that can go wrong, but it's no different than our vehicles nowadays. We haven't been able to work on a vehicle in 25, 30 years because with the amount of electronics that are in it and the computers, and that outboard of mine is a V6 motor that's got a brain box in it that, like anything else. And when you get into electrical, there must be 500 miles of wire inside the cowling of that motor of mine, and so, like my buddy said, he goes, if it turns out to be electrical, that's a tough one because you can chase it forever, and yes, those old 2-strokes, they ran forever, but
Suck gas off like
right, and they stunk and all those things that go along with it, but they ran because it was just the engine, and engines are very simple, and engines want to run. It's spark, fuel, and air. Boom, period. And when you come down to those old motors, you only had to account for those 3 things. I was talking to my buddy Paul Messina yesterday, and he's looking at a boat, and he found something that he really liked, and we were talking about how much boats cost and what all that fun stuff, and I'm like, If everybody was forced to go back to rowboats, we wouldn't have to worry about any of this stuff, and everybody would have a small boat because they had to row it.
Everybody'd have a small boat with a kid that would row it for them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you never had to worry about somebody having a big boat or a small boat. If you had to row it, they'd all be small.
Well, Jack Hinckley has his book there, and he has the stuff he puts on the internet every once in a while. Stories about guys with the those Oneida skiffs or whatever they call them.
Yep.
And that was all row.
Yep, all row.
That's pretty cool stuff. He comes up with some really nice stuff on his posts.
Yep. Years ago, I used to bring my drift boat and launch right there at Toad Harbor, slide it off the trailer. I'd come out here and I'd row upwind as far as I could take it, and then I would just drift however far and then row back up, and those drift boats row pretty easily, especially in open water.
I was watching you row it earlier this year when you were on the river there. You had your video.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that thing goes through the water pretty nice.
It does. A drift boat is such a multi-purpose boat. It's amazing. I used to use mine for everything. Ed Menzel, good morning. Ned Sellers. I have a 1960 Evinrude 18 horse on a 72 Starcraft 14 foot. Right on.
Is it the blue one? Because those things were awesome.
Scott wants to know if it's the blue one, Ned. Wait, the blue one what? Motor or boat?
The blue Evinrude.
The blue Evinrude. Well, they were all blue. They were all blue in those days. Johnsons were white, right?
Yeah,
and Evinrudes were blue.
It was called the 18 Twins. Those things ran forever. My great grandfather had one of those.
Oh, those little Johnson 99 Sportsman, outboard, the little tiller outboard that everybody had.
Yep.
I've went through more swamps and broke more ice duck hunting with that on the back of my old boat. I had a little 14-footer with that 99 on it, and you pick it up, take it off the back, throw it in the truck, bounce it around, and you put it back on, and she'd start every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the 4 strokes, and the E-Techs are nice when they're running right. Anything's nice when it's running right.
Right.
But there's just so much stuff on them now. It's mind-boggling. You look at it, going, huh?
It is, and it's funny. We all get hung up on brands and stuff, and I was talking to Danny yesterday. He's like, I want to get a new Suzuki. He's got a 20. Oh, there was one right there. When you lift the rod up and you feel it go like this, you must go like this. I didn't do the last part of that. I felt it, but I didn't lift it fast enough. But every company out there has problems, and every company out there has great products. All these motors nowadays: Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha, Mercury. It depends on who you talk to, and you can hear horror stories. I got a friend of mine, Bill, that's had more horror stories with his brand new Yamaha 4-stroke than most people would tell you. Oh, my Yamaha is the best thing ever, and I've never had a lick of problem with it, or any other motor for that matter.
Everybody makes a lemon.
They're all different, You get one that's built on a Friday afternoon of a holiday weekend, and it's missing 6 parts, and who knows? You never know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a giant. Look at that. What have we got?
What you got there? Probably another small walleye caught in the freaking belly.
Caught in the side. Feels heavy.
It's big enough to get the net on it, right?
Feels heavy. I might even stand up. Oh.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's a sideways little walleye.
Oh, yeah. Seen it before.
Yeah. Look
All
at
day
that.
long.
So like I say, as a fisherman, what does that tell you? That tells you that they're down there. It tells you they're looking at it. They're in the area. It's jigging. You know, it's not like that blade or whatever it is sneaks up on these fish. Don't think that for 1 second. Pretty little guy.
You know that all but the two perch, one perch hit it in the mouth, the other two had it inside.
Yeah.
Perch.
Yeah. So they're coming over and looking at it, and it's doing one of these. And they're interested enough to come look at it, and then it's getting them. You know, that to me just screams you got a whole bunch of inactive fish. And I specifically told Scott this morning, I said, only take me to where the active ones are. And he said, no problem.
We were talking about it earlier too. It's like, you get done eating 3 pieces of pizza, you gonna eat more? You know, you're full.
Well, it depends.
It
depends when you ask me that question.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I look at the nights though. The nights have been blue, wide open stars.
Yeah, and cold.
Yep, and I mean, I've always been one that if there's a moon or anything at night, then the fish are not biting as well in the morning because they're fed all night long. It was easy for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Something else in that conversation yesterday with my friend there, Paul Messina. And he asked me, he goes, I noticed you hadn't said anything about it, and it's because I hadn't heard anything about it. And I'll tell you, I don't watch local TV and I don't listen to local radio. So I tend to be a little out of the loop in things. But this weekend's Memorial Day. We know what Memorial Day means. It's a weekend where everyone goes and has barbecues with their families, but it really is about the men and women that have laid their lives down for this country to stay free and to be able to come out fishing and have barbecues with your family, as opposed to being in a totalitarian state with the government tells you, you can't go anywhere or do anything. So
thank you for your service, guys.
Yeah, well, of course. Thank you. But my point in that is that Sunday night at the New York State Fairgrounds in the Brown parking lot from 5 to 10 is the watch fire. I've heard about it before, and Paul, we were talking, and he's like, yeah, I'm going with a bunch of people. I go every year, and I'm like, huh. And he really made it, he made it sound, I've heard about it before. I've never been to one. I know they build a bonfire. I know that you can bring your old flags, and that's an acceptable way of disposing of them.
You can actually bring them to your local American Legions too. They have all the American Legions will take them, and they take care of them. I'm sure they go to the watch fire.
Okay, so I've actually got one of my Gramps' old flags that used to fly on his flagpole at their summer place up in Cape Vincent, and I've had it for years and years, and it just sits folded up in the garage, and I think I'm going to take that one there, and I think Courtney and I are going to go to the watch fire Sunday night. And go, and my also hope is that, I don't know how it all is. I know there's going to be some entertainment and music and food and whatnot. I'm hoping that there are some veterans groups there, because I've had it in my heart for a lot of years as a veteran to be able to reach out and have some sort of a fishing outreach program for veterans in the area. And so I'm hoping that I can meet some people there Sunday evening that are like-minded or from a veterans organization, that we can do that. And there'll be more to come on that. But that's been very close to my heart for many years. And 5 or 6 years ago, I tried working with Clear Path for Veterans out of Chittenango. And I was taking 2 veterans a week, taking them steelhead fishing up on the Salmon River and donating a drift boat trip every week. And it didn't work out long term. I don't know why. They didn't, things weren't terribly organized well down there with this situation, and it didn't work out. But I would really like to get it to work out here on Oneida. It's so centrally located. We can fish all season long. You know, so I'm hoping something good comes from that, and we're gonna have the experience. You know, I'm a veteran. Courtney's grandfather was a Navy vet and a very high-ranking, like an admiral in the Navy. So, you know, we have military service running through our family. My mom's husband was Navy. My grandfather was Army Air Corps before the Air Force was started. My cousin was a Marine. I was Army. I've got other family members that were in the Navy. So, you know, both her family and mine have a pretty long and proud military history, and I thought that'd be cool. So that's what we're gonna do Sunday night. So Friday afternoon, I had no idea what we were gonna do this weekend, and now we're gonna do two American things this weekend. We're gonna go see a baseball game, and we're gonna go.
Chief Mets game.
Yeah, we're gonna go pay tribute to our vets and our fallen brothers and sisters. And I'm still waiting for Scott to bring me to where the active fish are.
Keep talking. I can't go anywhere. I told you had to pick the next spot anyway.
Let's see. Dave Muldoon, good morning from Delta Lake. Never fished Delta. Gary Walters, good morning. Oh, Courtney says you're Lieutenant Commander. If it runs, it's a good motor. Amen, Jim. Merlin Johnson, morning. Thank a veteran. How you doing this morning, Wiz? I have many military family members. Yeah, I think everybody does, honestly.
I was a military spouse.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Your ex-wife was military.
She still is.
Yeah. Is military. She was out at Griffiths, right? Or is out there?
She's out at Griffiths now, yeah. She was over here and she was over in Iraq a couple times.
Wow. A nation's heroes should never be forgotten. Amen to that. We should be taking care of our veterans far better than we do. Although I'm going to tell you, in Syracuse, and I mean that on a national level without getting political, I don't believe we should be helping anybody outside of this country until everybody in this country is taken care of.
Amen.
And I know that our place in this world is such that we are the world's protector and financer, and I know we send a lot of money to a lot of foreign countries to help them, and I'm all for being benevolent and whatnot and sharing the wealth, but I don't believe that wealth should be shared until our country and the people that keep it free and the veterans that we have alive and the veterans that have passed and the veterans that we have healthy, the veterans that we have sick, until the kids in this country, until nobody has to worry about hunger or where their next meal's coming from, in the richest, most, you know, we're the number one country in the world. We shouldn't have problems at home and still be sending money afar until the problems at home are fixed.
Not like these problems, anyways.
You know, our infrastructure, the people. That's the closest you'll get to me on a political conversation in public. Huh, that's interesting. Jay Dam. My uncle came back from World War II and used his GI cash to start Polar Beach on Oneida Lake. Interesting. Where? I don't know where that is, Jay. And is it still active? Bob Meyer. Good morning from the South Shore. I have arrived. Well, that's probably why the fish stopped biting, Bob. They knew you were here, and they were scared. Real nice. Let's see. I come from a long lines of vets. Thank you to all the vets. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, as we start the presidential election season again, because Courtney and I were taking bets on when we're going to start seeing presidential campaign. You know, I'll tell you another reason I don't watch network TV very often is because I'm tired of listening to pharmaceutical and drug company commercials. If I never see another drug company commercial in my life, I would be okay with that. I don't understand the point. I don't understand why the general public. My thought is, here's my thought. My thought is that these pharmaceutical companies have made so much money off from COVID, from everything else, even before COVID, is that they have no choice but to spend it somewhere, and they spend it on advertising just to get rid of some of it because they don't know what to do with it all, because it's obscene the amount of money they've made, especially after COVID. Trillions of dollars. And I don't even necessarily believe half of it. Nor do I think that there's a single pharmaceutical company out there that gives two flying shits about you, or me.
Watch the fish go off. Get my bait.
We're surrounded by trollers right now. They're coming down both sides of us. Haven't seen them catch any though.
Says you're saying they're all lookers. Like I'm watching my lure go down on the live scope. I saw about 8 fish go right for it. Not one of them hit it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're at 47 minutes, my friends. I think we're good for today. Ooh, I just missed one right there when I lifted.
Remember this, the third part of that?
Yeah. First part, get lure to bottom. Second part, get fish to bite. Third part, set hook. I always forget that third part. All right, everybody. Have an absolutely fantastic Saturday. I love you guys. I want to thank Scott for getting me out fishing this morning. Catch a few fish, have some laughs, loosen up the old stiff muscles. I'm gonna do a down birdie. This is my last cast.
You're gonna throw your back out.
Unless I catch one, then we gotta go 5 more.
You're gonna throw your back out. Give it a birdie.
All right, let's everybody concentrate now.
That's not a birdie.
All right, guys, you witnessed my last cast. Have a great Saturday. Hit me up if anybody's interested in meeting up at the Syracuse Mets game this evening. Let us know. We're gonna be there. We'll be out in the parking lot about 6, and we'll head into the game. So, listen, if anybody wants to get a crowd together and make our own fun, I'm all for it. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow from somewhere. I don't know where yet. Most likely out here, but I can't ever say. You never know what the day will bring. Love you guys. Have a great day. Keep your tip up.